Today I'm going to be attempting how to get your favorite DAZ actor into Unity. And we're going to make this actor a playable race. In order to do that, we're going to actually cut up the body. We're going to need to make it to where it can wear clothes, change hair, uh, many other things, including the morphs, which is a very, very cool thing that DAZ does offer and is highly used inside DAZ. Now, if you do not know what DAZ is, I do recommend that you check it out. It is a wonderful, wonderful asset if you are a game developer. The problem with DAZ is that it is very high end. That being said, it's going to kill your frames per second unless you are good with Blender. If you are good with Blender, then DAZ is wonderful for you. Today I'm going to be going over just that. How are we going to be able to get this DAZ actor into Unity? As you can see here, I've already done this. I've done this many times, and I want to show you all how to do this. The number one thing that I will say to you is that you will definitely want to get the RPG creation kit. It is very wonderful. It is created by the developer Silvamat. He has basically created a RPG. It's almost like a secondary engine, I want to say. It's not really a whole engine, but it's everything you could possibly ever need for a kit to make an RPG game. I would never recommend anything else, to be honest with you. And so that's what I'm going to be basing everything off of. The first part of this doesn't even matter. Okay, this is going to be a several videos tutorial because it is a very long and hard process to get everything done. So we're going to start off with today with just getting it from DAZ to Unity. Okay, that being said, it's probably going to be a little bit short, but I'm going to almost immediately jump into the next video, and I'm going to be showing how to cut up your actor and save, I guess I should say remake uh, your textures and material files, because we're going to need to optimize all this stuff in order to make it work. To make it work well, I should say. Of course, it'll just work straight out of the bat, honestly. So let's go ahead and start. Now, you will need to go ahead and go download DAZ, and I'll have a link so you can get that. And then you can use whatever body that you want, but I prefer Genesis 8. It is, right now, the time I'm making this video, it has the most content for it out there, and it's highly favored. Genesis 9, which is fairly new, it's I'm not really a big fan of it. It doesn't really have a lot. I mean, there's quite a bit of content for it, but overall, I've compared the two bodies between Genesis 8 and Genesis 9. Genesis 9 doesn't really offer anything new. Like, I mean, it's about the same amount of poly. The texture quality, I mean, this is just basics, yeah, not add-ons from the marketplace. This is just the actual standard versus standard. The textures are pretty much the same quality. Everything's the same quality. There's not really anything gained out of this. So I do recommend Genesis 8. In fact, a lot of people still recommend Genesis 3. And really, I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. There's quite a few things that can convert from 8 back to 3. And so I do recommend either 3 or 8. I personally will be using Genesis 8 today. So let's go ahead and jump on over to that. And I do have a really nice tool. There's a lot of porn on there. That's my fault. Should have been a little bit more prepared for that. Here we go. So this is my DAZ asset manager. The problem with DAZ in general is that they have a monopoly, so to say. They have a monopoly to where their installers only work for DAZ.com. And so if you're getting models from Renderosity, RenderHub, Renderotica. You can get them from anywhere, honestly. And the problem with that being is that their installer won't work because it's made to only work with DAZ.com. So I made my own, and it does everything that the DIM does, except way more. You can search for your content, you can set up the categories for it, you can have the product page URL, and you can customize a picture for it. There's endless things you can do. It's really nice and handy, and you can just drag and drop your products, your assets into here, and it'll install them. It'll do everything on its own. You can uninstall them, which is a pretty big deal because with DAZ, if you're using an asset from somewhere else, you can just manually install it by extracting it into the folders, but then you don't know where they go, and it's hard to track everything down. It becomes a mess. So this is a manager that'll help clean up all those files. You can remove whatever you want, add whatever you want, organize. It's a lot better. Okay, now we got that out of the way. Let's go on over to the DAZ. This is your DAZ Studio. First thing, I normally use the dev loads, which you'll need to get the Genesis 8 basic female. I'll have links for everything inside the description, so please go there and click to download all the stuff we need. Here's Genesis 3, here's Genesis 8. Like I said, I'm going to be going with the Genesis 8 today, but there's also the dev. The dev loads are great for just hurrying up and getting a female shape out there or a male shape out there, so that way you can apply clothes onto it and bring them into game without having to do all the crazy extra stuff that these come with. But right now we're just doing the body, so let's go ahead and load the body. Okay, so the body is loaded. I'm just going to hope that YouTube doesn't get PO'd at me because there's nudity on here. But this is your Genesis 8 female body. Now, we are not going to bring in hair or anything add-ons yet. It's better to do that separately, and you'll use the dev load to do so. So we have the female body, and this is the fun part. There's literally nothing left to do, except for I've read in the directions that you need to select all. Now, I have also done this the other way and just not. It didn't make a difference, so I don't know why they say to do that. But we're going to go down to Send To, and we're going to select DAZ to Unity. Now, this is an add-on. I will also link that as well. And then there's an unofficial DAZ to Unity. I do not like the export tool for the DTU, the unofficial one. I don't like it. I like a lot of the other things that's in Unity for it, so I keep it there. But like I said, I don't like the unofficial one for the export. The export, I like to use the official one, and then you're going to want to name it. Now I'm going to name this one to Video Genesis 8 Female because I already have this in my game, and I don't want to mess mine up. I'm going to make a tutorial, and I'm going to do this again. That way we can learn from this. And it is indeed a skeletal mesh, and I never use this bake subdivision levels, but I did use the export morphs. We're going to choose morphs, and there are tons and tons of morphs to choose from. Now these are, if you've ever played Skyrim or Fallout 4, this would be like your race menu sliders, or can't remember what they call it in Fallout 4. But either way, these are your sliders that you would see in game, and you can just select all. I think, yeah, just by clicking on that and then add for export. I think you got to actually select all. But either way, you can just select on all of these or some of them, a few, doesn't matter. But I'm just going to, for now, let's see here, I want to remove all these. I'm going to do something that's just very basic for now. It's probably going to be way down here in order to do that. That's a pretty good one. I'm just going to select this, just so that way we can see them in game, or not really in game, but in Blender. In game you'll see them too. But anyways, you can select, in fact, I just won't select any, to be honest with you. No, I'll just select a few. That way I can show you how to edit them in Blender. So we're going to select them, hit add for export, and we're going to hit accept. Now those will be in there. They'll be exported with, it'll be added to the FBX file. And now we hit, see here. You got to go by all these settings for sure. Now if this is your first time using DAZ and exporting it to Unity, you have to click on install. You need to drop this down, which I'm using 2021. So I don't know why it's a little confusing. You'll need to update. Mine's probably far behind. And whenever I first did this, it didn't have 2021, obviously. So you'll need to install plugin very first thing. Whenever you got that done, then you can continue. And let's see here. I think that one's, you'll need to click on this as well and set it to your Unity project folder, which I think it's your, yeah, see here, you need to select your assets folder. Or actually it'd be right before your assets folder. It'd be your game name folder. And then you can install the plugin. So once you have all this done, you can pause this if you need to copy any of the settings. Go ahead and hit accept. And now it's building my normal maps. I always normal maps because sometimes the developers of DAZ assets don't make the normal maps for you, and the DAZ Studio can do a pretty good job of it all on its own. So I make them regardless, and sometimes there'll just be 2 or 3 of them because of this, but you can just delete the ones you don't want. Now this next menu that pops up, you will want to do 2014 binary. I so far found that it's the best one for Unity at least. And uncheck selected only. As you see here, this is why it's not wanting to, I assume that's the eyelashes right there. It's not wanting to export the eyelashes because they're not selected. So you just unselect that, and there you go. And over here, even if you did select everything, it unselects it. So it's kind of confusing that it says to do that in the directions. That being said, the rest of this I would say just copy them. This is more of an optimization thing, the merge diffuse / opacity textures. But on another hand, if you're going to be making different types of characters with different looks, you might not want to do that because it won't always be the same. But it all depends on how you're wanting to build your game. And then a few other things that I would like to make note on is you can include the rotation limits and rotation locks. You can include animations if you have some. But I think the best way to do animations is actually just using the base pose only. Now let's say that you haven't, well, I guess I'll go over the animations in another tutorial sometime because that's kind of another explanation. So let's just go ahead and click on accept after you have everything set up like so. And whenever that's done, you'll notice that it'll tell you to go to Unity to begin the import phase. So just click on OK. And now we're going to open up Unity. And you'll notice it's going to go through a process of importing all the textures, the materials, and the FBX. And depending on how you have things set up in your settings with your DAZ tool, will all depend on how it's going to import. Now, assuming that you already have DAZ installed on Unity, which if you click that button, like I said earlier, the process is pretty much automatic. It sets up everything for you. There's nothing to do. That's why I didn't show how to do that. Because it's just a matter of opening up the window and it just does it. Okay, so that finished importing. So we're going to just click on OK. And this is what I mean by it's really just too high quality for Unity when it just comes straight out of the box like we just did. Here is the history, which is everything that I imported. This is basically 3 to 4 materials or textures per material, and usually there's quite a few materials per mesh. Let's go ahead and figure out where that went. Whenever you import something, it'll always be inside of DAZ, or sorry, assets, then DAZ, and then the name that you gave it, which I gave it. Normally I'm a lot more organized, but I've just been importing stuff lately. Video Genesis 8 female. And here it is. This is all that it imported from DAZ. Now what DAZ actually sends over here is just the FBX and just this DTU file. This DTU file is really handy. You click on it and using it it'll go over here to your commands. You can create a new prefab, or you can re-extract the materials from this DTU file. The DAZ file, or the DAZ tool, will make this file. It is simply just a text file that lists all the resources and how to make the materials. It grabs all the information from DAZ and makes it to where Unity can read it. Then Unity makes all these folders, materials with textures, everything inside of it. Now, that being said, we're going to go over some of these things. This is for your eyelashes, which, according to the standard export on DAZ, your eyelashes are a different mesh. Kind of annoying. I don't really like that about it, but it is what it is. And then there is your actual female body. This is going to be all materials for just that. And then it's made a special folder for my export textures, which is one of the settings that I checked. I specifically asked it to make this folder. So that is just because of my settings alone. We're going to open it. And as you see, this is the normal files that I had it make. Now, I believe that those normal files are already inside of the Genesis 8 textures. But like I said, I always export these just in case, because sometimes it doesn't have them if the author didn't do that. Then this next one here is for the prefab that it also makes for you. So let's go ahead and go over this. Now this is that's a material and that's a material. So let's go ahead and find that female. Whenever you import something in new, as you see, I just got through bringing in a dress earlier, and I haven't really done anything with it yet. But this is the female that it just imported. We're going to come over here and click F to find it. Well, there's the dress like I was telling you about. We're going to hide that because we're not messing with that right now. And here's the female that it brought from DAZ. I am using URP, so of course everything looks kind of horrible, honestly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just grab something out of here and grab its position so I can move her in and show you what she looks like with some light, I should say. Here we go. Now, another issue that I should probably note is the size. As you can see, she's not quite up to size as what you would think. This, I don't know why or what made them decide the size, but it's off a little bit. It needs to be at 125% to match Unity compared to what they already exported as. But even in URP, you'll notice that the quality is still really not all that bad. But there's definitely some issues that needs to be addressed. You see the quality is great. Even the lips, all the detail, it's all there. but you'll notice the eyes are a little bit messed up. The eyelashes are actually great on this model. They were really screwed up on mine. So let's go over the eyes. Let's see here. See, here is 16 different materials for the one mesh. This is, like I said, this is where a lot of the issues are as far as possibly being too high quality. The eyes alone, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 materials for just the eyes. That's a little bit much. And let's see here. I think the issue, yeah, okay. The issue why the eyes are messed up on this one is because I have the unofficial DAZ to Unity, and inside my Unity, I actually use the unofficial version. And that's not good. You don't want to, well, I mean, it's good, but let me show you the difference. The issue is that the Uber spec, the irate Uber, is messed up. It clearly doesn't work very good. So to change that, all you gotta do is just click on them all the ones that say Uber spec, and go to DAZ, and then we're just going to just choose regular specular, and that fixes them. It is that simple. It's pretty nice and easy. But a lot of these, there's no reason to, I don't know, there's just no reason for all that many textures or materials. The materials are just kind of insane how many there are. It's like the eye moisture, you can't even see it. You can't even see it in game, you can't see it in editor, you can't see it anywhere. You might see it in HDRP. I don't really know. I don't really mess with HDRP. It's a bit too much, especially when you're using DAZ. So here's another one I missed. Let's go and grab it real fast. There we go. Okay, so we're going to go on to the, well, actually, I'll probably end it at this. Well, let me go I'll go a little bit further with it. A few things that we need to do. Now, I have mentioned that the scaling, now this is where you would change the scaling. It says at 1, but you can change it to 0.25. And whenever you do that, it's absolutely hideous and messes up. So we will not be doing it here. Wow, that's horrible. Oh man. So I do not ever suggest to change the scaling on here. Never do that. It's going to mess it up. We will have to change the scale inside of Blender, and that's probably going to be the only way to actually fix it. But on some of these, I had to do a lot of things to get it to set up right. You do not generate light map UVs. Do not do that. Do not swap. The normals, I think I go to calculate. Blend shape normals, I do import. And I think I leave that one there the same. And I do believe I turned this up to 99 or 100, right around there. Now those are just mine. The blend shapes are a little bit complicated. They're hard to work with, but if you get them right, it's awesome to use in Unity. So you can play with those, get it right where you need it to be, and you will be happy that you did. You will see here for the rig. Let's go and click on revert. There we go. For the rig, you need to make this a humanoid, and we're going to create it from this model. And well, actually, none of this matters because we're going to be using a blend file in the end. Or I guess we can just export over this. We'll just export over this. It'll be all right. Humanoid, create from this model. and I normally just leave it like this. Let's click on it. Now what that done was it made an avatar. The avatar is it's pretty nice. We'll go over that here in just a second. Animations, we're not importing any animations. Hit apply. And materials, you can actually go back and drag and drop all the materials that DAZ made for you inside of here and hit import, or you can just leave it the same, or you can just click on none and it'll remove them all, and this won't have any textures at all. Actually, that model still will because it's a prefab. There we go. Now you're seeing things how they should be. And let's go over this avatar real quick too, because that's going to be pretty important. Configure avatar. Now there's going to be hundreds of tutorials and things that you need to know about avatars. If you are using a Genesis 8 body or Genesis 3, the very first thing you need to do is nothing, because if you're using animations from DAZ, if you're going to be making animations from DAZ, then changing this is going to mess you up. Just leave it how it is, because the DAZ animations are going to be really nice and easy to use. They're also high quality, but I mean, using the animations are very little compared to anything else that you're going to be bringing in. I do suggest to use the DAZ animator, and I'll make a tutorial on that as well. Or you can watch anybody else's, because they're all going to be better than me. But adjusting your avatar, I just wouldn't even bother. Leave it exactly how it is. That way when you import animations from DAZ, you won't have to set up anything different. You'll just leave it how it is and it'll work perfect every time. So let's go ahead and exit this. Well, actually, before I go any further, the head is one thing that is always needing to be changed. Let's go on over to the head. And the jaw. Okay. Instead of using the lower jaw, you actually want to use chin. Funny as it may sound, whenever you are using it in game and you use any controller at all, you'll find that that fixes the open mouth problem. If at any point that you are using this and you use a DAZ model in game, you will notice that their mouth hangs wide open when you're trying to play. It's very disturbing, and it takes you forever to figure this out, but it's just this. The jaw needs to be set to chin. After that, you're good to go. That fixes it completely, and it works perfect. And that, see here, I'm going to hit apply and done. So there you have it. That's the beginning part to getting a DAZ model in Unity. And to do anything else, you'll probably need to follow the rest of my videos, but I'm going to end this one here.